The struggle. We're going to talk about strata levies. What's a normal strata levy? And if landlords out there are experiencing high strata levies and how they're getting through it. Stay tuned.
I'm the ringleader, so listen up.
Strata.
They're not my favourite bunch, but yes, they have a job to do also.
So Cleo with here, extraordinaire property manager. You're dealing with lots of landlords out there. What's the word on the street with strata?
Look, at the moment, there are quite a few jobs that have overlapped from the last financial year to this financial year, and there's a lot of money and a lot of work that's needing to be done, but nothing's actually being resolved, and it's dragging on. I think we find the builders that work on strata on the northern beaches, they're an eclectic bunch, and they have a bit of a monopoly on all the buildings and stratas, and so it can be tricky, and owners are hurting a little bit with levies. I feel they're feeling the pinch, and one increase per year doesn't help with their quarterly levies. They've also got water rates, they've also got council rates, so it is a little bit of a struggle out there at the moment with paying levies.
And with these levies that are coming through, are they sort of the regular levies, or why are they higher? Is it because of the building works, or is it just because the cost of insurance and living is higher?
Yeah. Look, everything's gone up. I'm sure at all the EGMs, AGMs, when they're discussing budgets, just like everything's gone up, goods and services, interest rates, everything associated with, managing a building also goes up. And, the levies, there's no levies I know under 1,000, 1,100 on the northern beaches. Gone are the days where levies used to be, $500 or $600 a quarter. Everything's at least minimum 12 to 2, so it's a big chunk of money when you think about paying levies and what you actually get for paying the levies. You're like, well, I'm just paying these amounts of money, and you don't see any of that money in your unit, or your tenant doesn't benefit from it, so it does seem like a wasted amount of money that you're paying, just like anything. But yeah, planning for the future. A lot of the buildings on our beautiful northern beaches aren't smoke alarm compliant. They're not, the standard of the balconies aren't compliant. They haven't had rendering or, common area upgrades. So if you're a good strata manager, your plan is to save for those things that will eventually add value to the plan and the building and each lot owner. So, having these levies increase rather than, whacking everyone with a special levy when the time comes is smart. But not everyone's got that extra $300-$400 a quarter to just pull out of their back pocket. So, I think a lot of landlords pay arrears with levies at the moment, so they're not paying on time. After the first month, you get interest incurred for not paying. And I mean, it's not a lot, but it's still, it's money that you, and just the debt recovery letters that they send out, they charge you like $10 a letter, $20 a letter, something like that. And it can add up,
Yeah, right. So, Claire, with these strata levies, and for anyone who doesn't know, a house doesn't generate strata levies. A unit does generate levies that you have to pay. It does include a lot of the things that you'd normally pay by yourself on a house. So you've got building insurance inside of your strata. You sometimes have water usage inside of your strata because they're not separately metered. You often have common house electricity, so outside of the building or the lobby inside the building. Security, fire
Lifts.
upgrades, all that stuff into your strata and pays for it. So it doesn't disappear off into the ether. But generally, if we could play the strata bonanza game, just to give people a reference as to what they would expect to pay with strata, a one-bedroom unit in Sydney's Northern Beaches, what would you pay per quarter for strata?
About 1,200 a week, quarter, about 1,200, I would
Uh,
say.
a two-bedroom unit.
2 bedrooms, probably about 1480, something like that. The difference between a 1 and 2 is only a few $100. When you go into the 3 and the penthouses, that's when you start getting into the big bucks.
And what's big bucks like for a three-bedroom sort of townhouse or apartment or something?
Oh, a townhouse, depending, because townhouses are tricky because you get a lot of lots in a townhouse. So you could have 50 or 60, which means that money is then less. So you're paying about 1,800. But if you're in a unit block like Meriton and you're a 3 bedroom and it's got a lift and all that sort of stuff, compared to a I don't know, a double brick townhouse complex, you're paying a lot more for a Meriton in Strata for sure. There's more things to look after.
To do.
Yeah.
So look, it's a significant chunk out of one's budget. $100 a week is going just into your strata. You haven't even paid your interest rates on the back of this. So there is a bit of struggleness out there at the moment with strata, but it must be quite damning when a remedial bill comes in, or when what are the types of surprise works that you're seeing with landlords out there at the moment? We go, oh shit! So I think you mentioned fire upgrades was one of them.
Yeah, so having the building compliant now, so it's up to standard, is a big chunk. What they do is they put this back to base sort of monitoring smoke alarm system in the common area that has to be wired through all the units. It's then maintained. It's a cost. A lot of these units, whether they're concrete, Besser block, gyprock, whatever they are, they're sometimes the capabilities of having this thing installed means you have to do all these modifications to the common area, to the units individually. This can take time. It takes money. People to come back, they charge to go on quote, they charge to write up a report. Some of these reports cost thousands of dollars. You're paying for structural engineers to come out. If you've got scaffolding involved, I didn't realize how much scaffolding costs just to put around an entire building, over $100,000, like in the entirety of the strata plan. I mean, everyone pays an individual amount, but I was thinking, oh my God, how much could that be? It's just like a bit of, tracks and steel rods around the property, but it costs a lot.
Yeah.
The scaffolding.
So when these works are done to the building, I guess it's being remedial works. You don't really make money from it either, because often the building just looks the same as it was before they started. They just go in, fix it, and rip in and rip out. So it's sort of dead money, I guess.
It is, but if you're purchasing as well a property that's older and you do your due diligence as the purchaser, you look at things like the strata report, what's in it, what works are coming up, what's been done. Like it would be smart to ask those questions so you know what you're up for. A property that's had everything done, meaning that the balconies are up to spec, the common areas, there's no concrete cans, all of that stuff's been done. That's going to add incredible value if you're an owner selling as well, which is one of the reasons I have an investment property, and we used to make jokes that there was an owner in our building that dobbed us into council to say that we weren't compliant because they were planning on selling and they wanted to get the best possible price, and it's a pre-70s build. So we then, out of everybody in the street, were sent letters from council to say that we weren't compliant, yet the unit block next to us was way older, built before our unit block, and they haven't had to have any fire safety modifications. So there was a bit of a conspiracy in that. But yeah, look, as a seller, if you've done everything as well, like I think there is value in it for sure. Or some of these units, I don't know, they stay. I've been to some where the balcony is so low, I feel like I'm going to fall off, and nothing's been done. Yeah, it's not compliant, but they're the red brick beauties that just stood a little bit under the radar.
And so, with people struggling with strata, what's your advice out there? How to approach it? What do you do? Sell it, get through it, get on the strata committee.
Yeah, look, getting on the committee is good if you're one of those people that have time and can go through all the documents required. Like a AGM minutes, like a good chunk of reading. It's probably going to take you 2 to 3 hours just to get through the paperwork. But yeah, you can put the brakes on what's happening. If you don't agree in a committee, everyone has to agree, especially if it's an amount, over 200,000, 300,000, so if not everyone's in agreement, then these works can carry on for years. They can go on for 2 to 3 years if people aren't, agreeing. If it's through council though, and it's to do compliancy, you only have a period of time where you have to comply, otherwise they take you to court. So
Yep. That work's got to be done.
Yeah, they're those works that have to be done. But if it's things like garaging or painting or just improvements as such, if you're on a committee and you know your finances and you don't have the money, then you could put the brakes on things very easily in those meetings and just drag things on, which is unfortunate for some circumstances. But talk to your strata managers as well. They're very helpful when it comes to giving you information on proposed things. I've often asked questions like, do you think something's going to be coming up? This owner's struggling, or the tenants, it's vacant. It's been vacant for a long time. They're trying to plan, and they'll give you an honest answer. And the owners can ring their strata people direct as well and ask questions. That's what they do. They're the strata manager. They're not just there to turn up to meetings and ask for money. They are there to also help you and guide you with the finances and money and projections of money and things like that. So I would say pick up the phone if you have concerns or you're struggling to pay.
Absolutely, don't bury your head. Thank you very much, Cleo. Strata levies, it's a cost out there. It's as much as $100 a day for some strata schemes, units that you're living in. So great advice. Thank you very much.
Bye. Have a great day.
See you, Cleo. See ya.